Here are 2 things that I do to make my money work for me. Disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, so do with this information what you will. However, this is just what I do. The first option is low risk, low reward, and that is my high yield savings account. A high yield savings account is a savings account with higher interest rates than normal savings accounts. So a normal savings account might give you less than 1% interest per year on the money that you keep. A high yield savings account might give you anywhere between 3 and 5% interest every year, depending on the state of the economy and the bank that you decide to open the account with. Different banks offer different interest rates and also is dependent on the economy. Additionally, this is high risk, higher reward, I guess, like higher risk, higher reward. There's different ways you can invest in the stock market that will not be as risky, but I make anywhere between 10 to 20% gains or I guess returns on my investments.
So in case your parents didn't teach you, because mine didn't, here are 5 things I did from the age 19 to 27 that got me to $500,000 in assets. And this is coming from a finance girly who did not have a high paying job. I was a server, a bartender, and I worked a government job. Okay, first thing, here are the 3 most basic accounts you need to have. First one is a checking account. This is where you put all of your monthly spending in, just 1 month's worth of spending. Second account is a high interest savings account or high yield savings account. This is where you put all of your savings, okay? They will pay you interest every single month. If it's sitting in a regular savings account, you're not earning interest. Third account is a TFSA if you're Canadian or Roth IRA if you're in the US. These are tax sheltered accounts that you invest in. So you can open one with Wealthsimple or Questrade. You can open one in the US with Fidelity or Robinhood. You need to start investing. Second thing you need to do is automate everything. Automate your savings, automate your investments, because it shouldn't be a choice every month whether you save or invest. Treat it like a bill, non-negotiable. Third thing is stop trying to look rich. Self-explanatory. Okay, fourth thing, do not mess up your credit. You can literally save so much money in the future if your credit is good because the lender will trust you more and give you a better interest rate. And that saves you thousands of dollars. Last thing you need to do, and you hear this a lot, is to start budgeting. You need to know exactly how much comes into your account, how much comes out of your account, and that will not just restrict you, but help you with the mindset of knowing exactly where your dollars are going so you're more intentional with your spending. Do that for a few years. You don't need to do it forever. If you have financial goals that you need to reach, like this video and follow me for more financial content.
This is exactly what I would do if I had $50 and I wanted to make sure 2026 was going to be my best year financially, okay? So I'm talking to the hot girls, the broke girls, the girls that have everything on a firm, the people that have nothing in a retirement account, savings account, no stocks, no nothing. This is exactly how you're going to start with $50 to start getting your shit together, okay? And make sure you guys follow me. Make sure you guys save this video. Make sure you guys repost this and share this to someone else that needs it, because we all know that friend who is living that rich, poor life, okay? Like, she has all the designer, she has all the things, but if you asked her if she had $1,000 in her savings account, she would have nothing to show for it, okay? So the very first thing you're going to do with that $50 is you're going to find a high yield savings account. The best one right now with the promotion is going to be SoFi. Okay, so now that I have my high yield savings account, luckily SoFi doesn't have a minimum. So with that $50, I don't have to worry about putting money in there right now, but I will set up a direct deposit so that direct deposit can start feeding it. But next I'm going to do is open up a Roth IRA. I know you guys hear about Roth IRAs all the time, but Roth IRAs are literally like a cheat code because it's some of the only money that the government does not get a piece of. And when I say a piece of, I mean it's untaxed, okay? So what you're going to do with that $50 is you are going to open up your Roth IRA. You're then going to take that $50 and you're going to use that Roth IRA to invest. A lot of people open up the Roth IRA, but then they forget to actually do something with it. And it's like, babes, we're trying to make our money grow, okay? So we're going to invest it in the S&P 500. Why the S&P 500? Because the S&P 500 is basically a cumulation of the 500 Fortune 500 companies, best companies in America, yada, yada, yada. Think Apple, Nike, Tesla. And basically, you're putting in your money into the S&P 500 and getting a little tiny portion of all of those companies. So instead of just hoping and praying that, let's say, for example, Tesla stock does well or Nike stock does well, by having a little bit of everything, you're then able to get gains off of the performance of all of those companies instead of relegating it to just one. And lastly, I would make a personal goal for myself to make $100 every single week extra on top of my income. And that extra can come from Instacarting, DoorDashing, it can come from content creation. But whatever it is, just dedicate to making $100 extra every single week. And that $100, you're going to divide it up by 2, okay? $50 is going to go into your high yield savings account, and then $50 is going to go into that Roth IRA, and you're going to invest that. And that's what I would do if I had $50 and I was trying to get on track and actually get my personal finance goals in order. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments.
Let's break down my paycheck, because I believe that in order to make your money work for you, rather than the other way around, you have to give it a job. So every 2 weeks, I take home $4,794.40. Now, Uncle Sam automatically takes a bunch of that. So after I take out all taxes and insurance, I'm left with $3,417.93. So the way that I have been breaking this down is I contribute $757.22 per paycheck to my employer retirement account. So this is my traditional IRA as well as the Roth IRA. And the way I have that split out is I'm putting about 10% into the traditional because I get a 5% match from my employer, and then I contribute an additional 12% to my Roth. The second place is the brokerage account that I have. So I put $750 into that investment account, which currently is with Fidelity. And then I also put 10%, $341 into my savings account, which I use a high yield savings account, and I'm currently using SoFi for that. I'm getting a 4.5% interest rate as opposed to a 0.01% interest rate in a traditional savings account from a local bank. So after we take out all of these contributions, I am left with $1,568.22 every 2 weeks. Now that is what goes into our joint checking account so that I can pay bills. Now this is just mine. Obviously I'd have to add in my husband's, but I wanted to show you how I break down my paycheck. So in terms of percentages, 22% and 22%, so 44% is going towards retirement and investments. 10% is going to savings, which leaves me 46% for discretionary and expenses that I have. So all in all, looking at this, I am paying myself 54% first between these 3 things. So you obviously do not have to have these percentages to start, but at least do something and then increase over time. And I have been doing this for over 20 years. So that is how I am slowly building my wealth. If you found this helpful, let me know. Leave a comment if you have any questions or if you want to see something else.
When I first started caring about my finances, that's when I knew my frontal lobe was developing, okay? That's when I knew I am becoming a true adult, because why am I sitting here thinking about my future self? I'm going to share a couple of my financial wins, small things that I've incorporated into my life that I think have helped me really improve my financial situation over the years. Number 1, I started investing at age 21. Which I think is relatively a young age to start investing. You can open up a brokerage account when you're 18, but from 18 to 21, the words investing never even crossed my mind. Okay, I couldn't care less about investing at age 18. But when I got to 21, I was like, you know what? I should be dipping my toes in the water and figuring out what this is all about. I don't really have that much disposable income, but every paycheck I would invest like $50 to $100. And even though $50 to $100 isn't huge in the grand scheme of things, it really set up the foundation for me to be able to manage money. And it taught me every single paycheck, pay yourself, okay? Pay your future self. Number 2, and this is probably the hardest out of everything, but it's also the most important, and that is that I try really, really hard to not compare myself to other people and not try and keep up with the Joneses. I think this is especially difficult for young women and men growing up in the era of social media, okay? You cannot go on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, okay, without everybody posting their highlights and everything is in your face. Look what I'm up to. Look what I'm doing. Oh my God, have you guys ever been on LinkedIn? First of all, comparison is literally the number 1 thief of joy. And number 2, trying to keep up with everybody else is literally going to empty your pockets, okay? You have no idea what these people's financial situation is like. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Don't compare yourself. Number 3, I always track my spending. Okay? Good or bad, I'm always tracking my spending. You don't want to get to the end of the month and be like, I don't know where my $6,000 went. What do you mean you don't know where your $6,000 went? If you don't track something, you can't change it and you can't adjust it in the future. And number 4, I'm not afraid to try new things and admit when things aren't working for me. Right before I started social media, I was literally working 3 jobs. Okay, I worked a corporate job, a retail job, and I was also a tutor. And I was literally working 14 hours every single day on the weekdays and 8-9 hours on the weekends. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm so unhappy. I'm so miserable. I literally cannot do this anymore. And so something has to change. Like, you have to be willing to admit to yourself, this is not working. So what are we changing?
If you want to reach a 100K net worth in your 20s, these are the 5 money moves that you have to get right. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have the right accounts set up. And there are 4 key accounts that you need. So first is a checking account, and you probably already have this. This is the account where your money is going to be deposited into and withdrawn from to pay your bills. Second is a high yield savings account. And I call high yield savings accounts inconvenient savings because they're slightly inconvenient but still accessible, and you have to be really intentional about the money you put into it and the money you take out of it. A high yield savings account is great for like your short-term goals. So think saving up for an emergency fund, saving up for vacation, saving up for like a down payment on a home, anything like that. The third account is a retirement account. So this could be a 401k, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA. If you're self-employed, a SEP IRA or a solo 401k. Totally depends on your employment, but the goal is to be contributing at least 2, ideally 5 to 10% of your salary to your retirement account. And the fourth account is a brokerage account, and this is for investing beyond retirement. So if you have mid to long-term goals that you want to have money for before you retire. Number 2 is setting up what I call a zero-based 3-bucket budget. And this is allocating every dollar of income that you earn towards either an essential expense, a financial goal, or a non-essential expense in that order. It does not matter how much money you make, you have to have a budget. So make 2025 the year that you take your budget seriously. Number 3 is identifying your spending values. And this happens by tracking your expenses, seeing how much money is going where, and noticing how you feel when you spend money on certain things. The goal is ultimately to only be spending money on the things that make you feel really, really good, and aligning your money accordingly so you stop wasting money on shit you don't need to impress people that you don't care about. Number 4 is to save up your emergency fund. And this needs to be like your absolute number 1 financial goal priority in your 20s, even before paying off debt or saving for retirement. Your emergency fund is your financial fire extinguisher. So you can't play offense with your finances if you don't have the defense already set up. So that is what your emergency fund is. It's 3 to 6 months of your expenses saved in a high yield savings account. And the goal is to make sure you have money to bridge a gap or to cover an emergency should something in your life happen. And number 5 is to establish a financial routine. This is how you are going to create accountability within your financial world. So think of a financial routine as like a 10-minute simple checkup where you go in, you're tracking your expenses, you're pulling up your tool. I recommend you use the personal finance dashboard, and you are really looking at your finances, making adjustments to your budget, and ensuring that you are staying on track. The best advice I can give if you're getting started on your financial journey is to focus on getting the basics right, because once those are right, it's a lot easier to scale over time.
My 6-figure paycheck didn't come from my 9-to-5. It came from a house 2,000 miles away that I've never seen in person, in a state that I've never even been to. I was doom scrolling Zillow one night looking for cheap properties, and I found a probate house 2,000 miles away that had been sitting for too long. Nobody wanted it, but I saw potential, so I bought it for $80,000. I spent $40,000 of borrowed money at 0% APR to fix it up. Once it was rented for $1,650 a month, I refinanced it and pulled almost every dollar I put in back out. $118K total. Now I've got a free house, $400 a month in cash flow, and someone else paying every expense while the house keeps appreciating for me. And I did all of it without ever leaving my own house. That's how you put your money to work. Follow me for more ways to make your money hustle harder than you do.
Okay, let's talk fast finance. 1, assign your money a job before you spend it. Every dollar needs a purpose. Wandering money just disappears. 2, have a money day every week or every other week. I know life is busy, but if you do not schedule your finances, it will not get handled. 3, separate your soft life fund from your emergency fund. One protects your peace, the other protects your lifestyle. 4, know your top 3 money metrics: net worth, monthly burn, your savings rate. You don't need a fancy degree to do this. 5, build a bare minimum budget. If everything were to fall apart, how much will it cost you to cover the basics? This number matters. 6, stop using your checking account as a scoreboard. A high balance doesn't always necessarily mean financial freedom. You want to elevate, get crafty and strategic about your money, aka investments. Now 7, learn to say no even when you can afford it, okay? Discipline is not a form of punishment, it's protection. 8, track your emotional spending triggers. Are you spending because you're sad, bored, trying to prove something? Know your patterns. 9, buy luxury out of overflow, not from obligation. We don't perform success, we embody it. And 10, treat your finances like a business. Income, expenses, strategy, goals. You are the CEO of your life, so act like it. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Smart girls have systems, so make sure you build yours.
Here's a secret that rich people understand that if you ever want to get out of the struggle, you need to understand as well. It's actually not a secret. We're just not openly taught this. When you don't have money, you have to work for that money. When you do have money, you make it work for you. So how do you get from working just to make ends meet and pay your bills over to money is expanding and working for you? You probably don't want to hear this, but the answer is you're going to have to sacrifice, and we'll talk about what that looks like in a second. Here are the milestones you're going to have to meet to get to this other side, and this is the stuff that I'm teaching every single day on my channel because you can do this. First priority is saving up an emergency fund, $1,000 to $2,000 as a safety net, and then you go and you start paying off your high interest debt. All of your high interest debt needs to go. It's non-negotiable. Once you pay that off using an avalanche or snowball plan, you go back and you save your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in a high yield savings account. Now that money's already going to be working for you, making free money in a high yield savings account, but we're going to take it a step further and start investing your money. I don't mean crypto or individual stocks. I mean things like index funds or ETFs. I have more content about that if you're interested. Now you may be thinking, I don't have enough money to save. I can barely pay my bills. This is where sacrifice comes into play. You want to hit these milestones by any means necessary. That means you might have to get side jobs temporarily. You might have to invest your time to learn new skills that can bring you more money. You have to learn how to say no to friends and family who don't know what your financial goals are. You have to let go of your image, okay? So quit trying to buy the newest phone, the newest car, the biggest car you can afford, the biggest house you can afford. Is it fair that sometimes people have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs just to make ends meet plus try to hit their goals? No, not really. But you can either focus on that and stay stuck, or you can focus on trying to hit these goals and get yourself into a better situation. Working multiple jobs does not have to be forever, but guess what? Like I said, by any means necessary, you need to hit these goals. So if it takes you a couple years of working side jobs and working a lot of hours to finally get to a place of financial freedom, it is worth it. Trust me. You're also going to have to do some mindset work because mindset is absolutely everything. Mindset alone, just sitting there thinking about positive things, doesn't get you rich, no, but mindset opens up opportunities that you can't even imagine. When you do a lot of mindset work, you let go of limiting beliefs, you get out of the victim mentality, you start to realize that you are actually in control of your life and you can make anything happen for yourself that you want to. And take it from me because I used to be worse than broke. I had $0 even negative in my bank account, and I was a single mom, very much struggling to get by. Because of all these things I'm talking about, I am now on the path to becoming rich in my future. I also want to talk a little bit about letting go of your image, and I'm going to use myself as an example again. I want a new Tahoe, and I have the money to go and get it. But should I do that right now? Should I go and buy a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 vehicle when I could be sinking that money into my investments that's going to get me a way bigger return? I have goals and I'm going to hit them by any means necessary. And for me, that looks like me continuing to drive around my paid off minivan because it has no payment. I send that money straight to investments and that money is growing me money while I sleep. Everybody's goals are different. Everybody's threshold for going aggressively at their goals is different. So you have to decide, what does that look like for you? For me, that looks like being content with the material things that I have right now, being content with not getting my nails done every 2 weeks. I do them at home now. And guess what? I don't restrict myself down to the bare bones minimum. I let myself have fun with my money and I still am able to hit my goals. That's because I did a lot of sacrifice up until this point to get to where I am right now. And I'm no different than you are. I promise you. Go look at my story on my page, my journey. It's pinned at the top of my page and you will see what my journey has looked like. I've worked 14-hour days. I've worked multiple jobs at a time. I've invested thousands of dollars to learn new skills. I've done it all. I promise this is possible for you too. You just need to have some mindset shifts and you need to understand that the main goal is making your money work for you. That's the goal by any means necessary, and that is why I'm on TikTok teaching the things that I teach, because this is possible for anybody. So commit to yourself. You're going to do one thing today to get you closer to your goals, whether that is sitting down and making a plan, or you can go to my bio and get my free Money Mastery Basics guide. That will get you started. Just do something that's going to bring you closer. You got this, friend.
It would be crazy if I could make $10,000 a month through side hustles, but that is the goal that I'm working towards. From 0 to 10K months, side hustles, and from side hustles to the stock market. Meaning every single dollar I make from all of these side hustles that I'm about to be shooting my shot with is going to go into the stock market. Not buying new clothes, not going out to dinner, not getting a new car, into assets, okay? But I have been getting some questions around like what my investment plan is. So it's very simple. I have two main investment accounts, my Roth IRA and my traditional brokerage account. With my Roth IRA, the goal is to max it out, and the max for this year is $7,500. I think the easiest way to squeeze the juice out of your Roth IRA is just to set up a monthly contribution. So with the max amount being $7,500, that's $625 a month that you need to be investing inside of your Roth IRA, or $625 a month that I need to be investing inside of my Roth IRA. Now, granted, the year has already started, so I'll have to like pick up the pace to make up what I didn't invest for the last, couple of months, but we can figure that out. The second account is my regular brokerage account. It's hot in here. The second account is my regular brokerage account. There are no limits to how much I can invest inside of this account, so it's going to be upwards of $9,000. That's the goal. That's the goal. Two accounts, my Roth IRA, my brokerage account, and putting $10,000 in every single month between those two. As for the stocks that I'm buying in my Roth IRA, it is super simple, 100% VTI. I'm buying the whole U.S. stock market. For my brokerage account, it's 50% VOO. This is covering the top 500 producing companies in the U.S. And then 50% QQQM, which is covering like the top tech leaders in the U.S. Now, once my account cracks 100K, I plan on sprinkling in a little bit of individual stocks, but we're not there yet. Yeah, I have thoughts about sprinkling in some individual stocks, Bloom Energy, Amazon, Microsoft, but I'm gonna wait until my account cracks 100K, and then we'll talk more about that.